Shalom, 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 Yashala, shalom. It's your brother representing Warriors for Yahweh Shai Michigan Camp. Before we start off, I want to give all praise, honor, infinite glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who real well, to teach well, to tell us the truth. And a hearty shalom to the Akim, Aqua, tuning in. Shalom, shalom. All right, now, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying, man. Let me read off this scripture real quick, and we're gonna get straight into it. Lord willing, it's edifying. All right, so this is a beautiful scripture, and I want to bring this out. This is Luke 21 and 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, what's some of the things that's going to come to pass? Some of the plagues, okay? One of the biggest plagues, and one of the biggest things that's supposed to happen is the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast, the Neuralink. You also have Jacob's trouble, the famine. You have the famine of the word. You have the missiles, the chariots destroying this place. There's many things that's supposed to play out, man. All right, but all these things are going to come to pass. It says, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. So Yahweh Shem Shai is coming to redeem his elect, the elect of Israel. Okay, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans and speckled birds, you may appear to look like other nations, but your forefathers go back to the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Yahweh Shem Shai is dealing with you. According to scripture, Yahweh Shem Shai is dealing with you. So we know according to prophecy, okay, that, very soon we're going to be delivered from this society. We know very soon this place is going to be thrown down. Okay. And, a lot of us can't wait for it. We can't wait for that salvation. All right. And the reason scripture says, look up, your redemption draw faith. The chariots, the so-called UFOs, the vehicles of Yahweh Shem Shai is going to deliver his elect from America, Babylon the Great, which is, the true capital of these devils. America, Babylon the Great is what all these countries want to be about. They want to act like America. They want to be like America. Okay, and America is going to be the ultimate example of judgment. Okay, and it's just beautiful. Every single day we're closer and closer to being delivered, man. All right, so let's get into this. Salakia.
Now, U.S. media report that more than 30 water systems in Minnesota were hit in a coordinated cyber attack last week. And days later, the FBI said that attacks had been reported in 7 states. Now, U.S. media reports that investigators are looking into a possible Iranian connection. It's not been confirmed, and Iran has not commented. But experts say it fits a familiar pattern. They also say we may never get a clear public attribution. One reason is that another group or country could have acted on Iran's behalf. And experts say the Trump administration may be reluctant to acknowledge a successful Iranian cyber attack on U.S. soil. Iran and groups linked to it have previously been accused of targeting U.S. water systems, hospitals, and elections. For now, the biggest risk may be disruption and fear. But hackers could potentially shut off water, interfere with chemical controls, or damage equipment. And with more than 150,000 public drinking water systems, many using aging technology, the U.S. is vulnerable.
Okay, so this is Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe coming quickly. So we know, according to Bible prophecy, okay, that cyber warfare, warfare between all these different nations, basically, these places are divided. Everybody is against one another. Okay, this is all according to Bible prophecy. Okay, so not only do you have, the so-called Iranians targeting water, throughout these different U.S. states, you also have them, attacking, things via the cyber attack, whether it be the economy, whether it be blackouts, power outages, or whether it be them messing with the funds, the money. Okay, so them showing you, that they can hack into these different 7 U.S. states shows you that World War III, Jacob's trouble is not too far away. You know, according to Bible prophecy, you know, we're super close. You know, and it's just beautiful that, you know, very soon, you know, Yahweh Shem Shai is gonna get us out of here. You know, we don't got that much along here in Babylon the Great, which is so-called America. This place is on its way out. You can see at the economy, you can see the ways of the people, you can see the ways of the society, that this society is on its way out. All right, so let's continue.
Actively planning to gut Head Start, which is a free preschool program that helps over 500,000 children across the country. An HHS spokesperson says the goal is to reduce unnecessary administrative burden while preserving federal investment. But critics say this would effectively gut the Head Start program's quality, anti-poverty mission, and safety standards. It would eliminate or significantly roll back a wide array of long-standing federal requirements. It erases strict guidelines requiring staff-to-student ratios and physical safety standards, instructing operators to follow more permissive state or local laws instead. The proposal also removes strict federal math and literacy curriculum frameworks alongside required medical, dental, and vision screening for children. It also deletes minor everyday quality mandates like the requirement for children to brush their teeth after meals. And it demands stricter, more rigorous paperwork and verification from parents who are experiencing homelessness or are unemployed. These insane changes will of course be challenged in court, which could delay or block implementation for months. The Trump administration is actively planning to gut Head Start, which is a free...
These people, like I said, the society is on its way out. All right, they're taking away, you know, all these different programs that can help out, you know, with education, you know, food, different things like that. Okay, and they're replacing it with other things. So yeah, very soon, you know, you're going to see a totally changed society. You know, not only are, you know, Gen Z one of the slowest, you know, a lot of Gen Z don't read. Okay, a lot of Gen Z, they don't know how to take care of certain things. You know, society has been totally dumbed down. All right, so we know according to Bible prophecy, you know, that this society is going to totally be decimated. Okay, whether that be through the education system, whether that be through these different government programs. Okay, we know that we're on our way out, man, and you can see it. You know, Esau Edom is dumbing down everybody. All right, let's see what else we got. You know, and this is judgment, man. You know, you see things like this. The Lord is giving out that judgment. Teeth of wild beasts. You know, let me see if I can get that. You know, and that's why it pays to pray, man. That's why it pays, you know, to be in good standings with Yahweh Shem Bashai. All right. Salakia. So this is Ecclesiasticus 39 and 27. Salakia. Let me pull you up, boy. Pull you up. All right, Salakia, got this baby. It says, all these things are for good to the godly. Okay, Yahweh Shem Yahushua can make it to where, you know, these different beasts, these different animals can protect you. Okay, he can make it to where they can bring you food, water. He can make it to where, you know, they could get you out of certain positions that you in. All right, the Lord can make it to where you're good. All right, it says, so evil things for sinners, and he can also make it to where they're turned for evil to the wicked. You know, these different animals, these different beasts, you know, these different creatures. It says the principal things, so like if there be Ecclesiastes 39:28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fairy lay on sore strokes. All right, sore strokes, when they bite you, they claw at you, you know, it's sore, it hurts. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So Yahweh Shem Yahushua created these different animals, these different creatures, dogs, you know, cats, bears, all right, you name it. All right, the Lord has created these animals. All right, it says fire and hell and famine and death, are all these were created for vengeance. So the Lord created fire, hell, famine, you know, these different animals and creatures. They're all could be used for vengeance. They could all be used to judge somebody. says teeth of wild beasts, scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. So things are set up to judge people. These different animals, these creatures, these different beasts, they're set up to judge the wicked. Okay, so it's heavy, man. You know, that's why you pray and call out to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. You know, Salakia. All right, so this is Luke chapter 12 and 49. Let's get this scripture. It says, I am come to send fire on earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? The world is already on fire. All right, you have all these different wildfires, you know, in Canada, Greece, you know, it's a few other places. All right, but this is a visual representation that Babylon the Great, which is America, and these other countries are on their way out. That Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is on his way out of his ranking, his position, out of his kingdom. Okay, the kingdom of Yasha Allah is up next. The kingdom of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is up next. Okay, a kingdom of righteousness. And before our kingdom can come, this society has to be thrown down. All right. So yeah, the Lord is destroying this place, you know, brick by brick, city by city, state by state, country by country. All right. See if I can get this. Salakia.
Right now, and alarm bells are sounding. Entry-level jobs in the United States of America are vanishing right now, and alarm bells are sounding over the state of the United States job market and the economy writ large. According to Forbes, in the past 4 years, entry-level jobs have tanked 73%, the number of them. Inexperienced candidates are now welcomed in just 1 out of every 50 job openings out there. That's down from 1 in 15 in 2022. There are also 27% fewer salaried openings out there. So for new college graduates, good luck. There are just no jobs willing to hire entry-level folks. And the jobs that are, so many people are applying due to the scarcity in the number of jobs out there that it's nearly impossible to break in and get an interview. I mean, I talk to people every day, young people every day. Those who are graduating college, those who are even graduating master's program. And they struggle to find a job, let alone a good paying job, because they just don't exist anymore. And now we're learning why. Spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along, stay updated on all the news you need to know about.
All right. So you hear it, man. You know, all these different jobs are vanishing. Everything that these people, you know, thought would never happen is happening, man. Let me see if I can grab this scripture. Matthew 24:7, for nation shall rise against nation. You're seeing that. Kingdom against kingdom. You're seeing that. And there should be famines, all right? Without jobs, you know, without people working, you know, without the cash flow rolling in, you're going to have famines and pestilences, all right? Sicknesses, diseases, and earthquakes in diverse places. That's how we know that Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is on the way, all right? It says, let's get another one. Revelations 18:8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord who judgeth her. So this society is about to be burnt up, all right, by nuclear missiles and by the so-called UFOs, concentrated fire. But also, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is going to let this place just get hit, you know, by all these different plagues. All right, it's only going to take, what it say, 1 hour for this society to be totally thrown down. All right, so in one day, all these different plagues is going to hit. You know, of course, it's hidden, you know, throughout time or whatever. All right, but when America go down, it's going to be as if everything hit it at once. All right, and you can clearly see it, man. Let's see what else they got in here. Salakia.
New escalation in the war with Ukraine. People at a beach on the Black Sea in Russia when a deadly drone strike hits. It happened in a resort town not far from a compound belonging to Vladimir Putin. Russian officials blame Ukraine and say at least 7 people were killed there on the beach.
Horrifying images. 7 people killed, according to Russian authorities, 3 children. The governor of Krasnodar, which is where that beach is, the region where that beach is accusing Ukraine of deliberately targeting civilians. It's worth noting, Tom, that of course Russians have been able to travel outside of the country less. Many of them have wanted to travel outside of the country less since the war with Ukraine began. And so those kinds of beaches at this time of year are really packed. Whether Ukraine was deliberately targeting that beach or trying to target, for example, a military facility nearby, the reality is this is an example of civilians killed in Russia as a result of Ukraine's actions.
All right, and very soon we're going to see this playing out in America, Babylon the Great. All right, very soon we're going to be seeing people, lining up doing this in this place. All right, but right now, you don't see it happening. You don't see people getting hit, nuclear missiles. You don't see all hell breaking loose. But very soon you're going to see it, man. All right, and it's all praise to Yahweh Shimei. I was shy that, that we're getting closer and closer to being done with this place, man, because this place is wicked as hell. Everything about this society, everything about this rulership is completely wicked, man. All right, so we need Yahweh Shimei Shai to deliver us. We need to be able to escape from these missiles from Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. Very soon, World War III is going to commence, but right now we're just seeing the beginning of sorrows. All right, let me see if I can get that. All right, so this is Matthew chapter 24 and 8. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get it from Mark 13, Salakia. So we're gonna bring it from Mark 13. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation," and 8. Kingdom against kingdom, and there should be earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay. So it says there should be famines and troubles. These are beginning of sorrows. So these just the beginning. It's just the beginning of something popping off. All right, and it's going to heat up even more. All right, just you wait. Babylon the Great is on its way out, and these people know it. All right, so let's continue. Salakia. And we know that, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the best fathers, man. All right. Crazy. And they would make it seem like we the worst. All right. And it's all signs throughout the world showing you, that Yahweh Shimei Shai is about to judge this place, man. All right, let me see if I can pull up some more Salakia.
Administration over its latest round of tariffs. And the tariffs were breaking news. Illinois is one of 25 states to sue the Trump administration over its latest round of tariffs. And the tariffs were imposed last month on 59 countries in the European Union, claiming they had not done enough to crack down on imports produced by forced labor. They took effect just after the end of temporary tariffs imposed after the Supreme Court deemed earlier tariffs unconstitutional. New York's Attorney General says these tariffs hurt U.S. business owners and that no link to forced labor has been identified. Breaking news, Illinois is one of 25 states to sue.
Some people are happy with Trump. Other people are not. 25 states sue over new Trump tariffs. And, it's heating up, man. It's going to come to the point to where people are totally going to buck up against their president. All right, scripture says sedition among men. All right, and that's right around the corner. Very soon, it's going to be sedition among men. People coming against one another. All right. Let me see if I can get this. Luke chapter 11 and 18. If Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? Because you say that I cast out devils through Beelzebub. All right. Luke 11 and 17. It says, but he, knowing their thoughts, said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falleth. So, America against America just gives you even more information that this place is on its way out. All right, let's continue. You sleepy, man. Slovakia is moving super slow. I don't know why. All right, let's play this.
Up to right here.
Empty shelves where some THC products once stood.
The void, the space, man.
This, the image inside Bel Air Smoke Shop in Southwest Houston, one day after Texas's ban on most hemp-derived THC products.
So yesterday, a lot of people came trying to buy a lot, and today we had people come trying to buy stuff, but obviously there's nothing to buy, so. And wholesalers, they're not selling, there's no way.
The new law prohibits the sale and possession of hemp-derived THC products like Delta 8, Delta 10, THCA flower, and other synthetic THC variants. Only hemp-derived Delta 9 THC products containing less than 0.3% THC by dry weight remain legal. Ashton Matthews, a cashier at the smoke shop, says on Saturday some customers came in still hoping to get their hands on the product.
Where's it at? Do you have some underneath the table? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. And y'all can't even have it in your car no more because, yeah, you get in trouble.
The Texas Department of State Health Services argued that hemp-derived THC products should be treated as controlled substances because they are psychoactive drugs. Some lawmakers pushing this ban for years over concerns that the products harm children. Possession of banned THC products can now carry felony charges with penalties including up to 2 years in state jail and fines of up to $10,000. Cannabis experts estimate the ban could take 60 to 90% of THC products out of circulation.
Yep, everything from right here
What's
up
happening
to right here.
Empty shelves.
They got a ban going.
This bill is insane. This legislature legalized hemp 6 years ago, but instead of regulating this booming industry in our state, we are now going backwards to the days of prohibition. This bill is not going to stop Texans from smoking weed or eating edibles just because a bunch of politicians in Austin tell them not to. Texans will still use THC, but instead of getting it safely from a local small business, they'll now get it from the black market, from the drug cartels. This ban is a gift to the cartels. We are now telling full-grown adults how to live their lives. This is the nanny state at its worst. This is big government at its worst. I thought the Republican Party believed in limited government and personal responsibility. I thought the Republican Party believed in liberty and freedom. What gives us the right to tell an adult what to do on their own time? We are now about to throw Texans in jail for seeking relief that's safer than alcohol and less addictive than tobacco. Instead of fully funding schools, expanding access to health care, lowering costs of childcare, this legislature is focused on banning a product that gives people a little peace. Texans use THC to lessen anxiety. Seniors use it to manage chronic pain. Our veterans use it to treat PTSD. With this ban, we are now making people's lives harder, not easier. I want to leave you with a quote. It is time to end needless arrests and incarcerations of adults for small amounts of marijuana for personal use. That wasn't a Democrat. That was President Donald Trump. To my Republican colleagues, I'm asking you to oppose the cartels, stand with President Trump, and vote no on this insane bill. This bill is insane. This legislature legalized hemp.
Yeah, so they banning weed in Texas, man.
So Texas just passed this new law saying if you have a gram of the green, that it's like 180 days in jail and like something sentence. And if you have up to 4 grams, it's a felony. Now, I'm not here to debate whether this should be illegal, all that stuff. It is what it is. Granted, I live in Texas. You go in any major city in Texas, Dallas, Houston, you'll think it's legal. The problem I have is we have missing kids and other things we should be worried about. You look at other things people do. I don't want to say like other things people do, they get less time for, and it's a lesser sentence. And I get it from a business standpoint that I guess they trying to, I don't really know what they're trying to do, but I think it's kind of crazy that you can go to jail, you can get a felony, like a felony for having 4 G's of that. But someone can do something to somebody that they didn't want something to happen, and it's a lesser sentence to that. But that's just Texas. Like I don't know how to put it. And you would think around, and if you're not from Texas and you came here and you go out during nighttime, you would think it's legal. You go to any clubs, you would think it's legal. But that's Texas. So Texas just passed this new law saying if you have a gram of the green, that it's like 180 days in jail and like something sentence. And if you have up to 4 grams, it's a felony.
People that's that do that, man, be smart.
In the dead of night, while you were asleep, the Trump Justice Department executed a deal to ensure that Donald Trump, his sons, and his companies can never face an IRS audit for anything they did on their taxes for years. Todd Blanche signed an amendment late last night saying that the weaponization fund, the $1.776 billion, is dead, and that Trump's audit agreement, it's very alive, but it only applies retroactively to Trump, Eric Trump, Don Jr., and the Trump Organization. So that means Trump and his sons cannot face an IRS audit for anything they've done in the years preceding this agreement. And why did they cut this deal? They cut this deal because now it's going to get Todd Blanche confirmed as Attorney General, likely. And there's a lot of media reporting saying that Todd Blanche killed the weaponization fund today. But there are a lot of problems with this deal, and it really seems like they're pulling a fast one on the American public and even these Republican senators. First, January 6 defendants can get payouts from the federal government in other ways, and they already have. Ashley Babbitt sued for wrongful death and got a massive payout, her family. There's the Federal Tort Claims Act, which January 6 defendants are eyeing to get money from the federal government. There are other ways Trump will pay January 6 defendants. That's number one. Number two, and what's unclear, the original IRS deal required an agreement signed by all parties to execute an amendment. Last night's amendment was only signed by one of the parties, Todd Blanche. And number three, which I think is the most important thing here, there is theoretically nothing right now that prohibits Trump, Blanche, and the IRS to sign another amendment after John Cornyn and Tom Tillis leave office that completely invalidates today's agreement, because it's just that, a contract, a settlement agreement that can be amended, that can be changed.
Slovakia.
Life just takes, it's a roller coaster. And now I'm at the lowest, but I'll be back up. I'm a little dirty. That one? And then this, I'm a little dirty right now. And then I have a thigh tattoo. Yeah. And this one. Yeah. That was just a year ago. You seen the dates?
In 1 year, you went from that to this.
You got a lot of followers, actually.
Right away,
got a lot of comments on the first video. Life just takes, it's a roller coaster.
It goes.
And now I'm at the lowest, but I'll be back up. Yeah, I'm a little dirty. That one?
So it says, for what is Matthew 16 and 26? For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? But what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? So, a lot of these different celebrities, actresses, actors, comedians, athletes, you name it. A lot of these one-hit wonders and people like that, they see how the industry is. This industry will swallow you up and spit you back out, man. A lot of people, they come back out crazy. And a lot of these people come out, they bugging out. They lost their damn mind. And why is that? Because Babylon the Great is completely wicked, man. It's against so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, Hebrew Israelites' nature, man. Everything that this society pushes, adultery, pedophilia, what's that? The rainbow gang agenda, same-sex marriages, all these different things America pushes, it promotes that. You know, and a lot of people, you know, once they do these different things in the industry, you know, they completely lose themselves. All right. So, like, yeah. So, like, let me play this
from his TikTok, but his name will bounce around because I saved the videos. Fuck the news. I don't think this is being talked about enough about what's actually occurring in Spokane, Washington. This is coming from this creator. I will tag him in the video because I got these videos from his TikTok, but his name will bounce around because I saved the videos. This is footage coming out of Spokane, Washington on August 1st. When I talk about situations like this, I always heavily hammer into the fact that if you have family or friends or you're able to go into the area of Spokane, Washington, there are people there who need help. The government hasn't said a peep. The news media has covered it just small, tiny bits, but the only people talking about this are people on social media, content creators, people who don't even make content. This is happening.
It's funny. My grandmother made me read the Bible, right? And it was so entertaining. They said it was a nigga walking with a stick that cut.
All right, this is Matthew 24:12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, right? Because this society promotes wickedness, it promotes people to be in, like I said, in that deaf culture, it promotes people to be adulterers, you know, same-sex marriages, you know, all these different things. It promotes wickedness. So, of course, you know, because iniquity is abounding, because people are doing sin upon sin and they're not repenting, they're not calling upon Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, you're going to begin to see the love of many wax it cold, you know? Salakia. Oh, man. Salakia. Baby.
Under our brand new Freedom Haulers, we call it Freedom Haulers initiative, any American who has driven a heavy truck for our military will automatically be eligible for a commercial driver's license. And it's good paying jobs too. Any veteran with a heavy vehicle experience from the military will now be eligible to skip redundant road tests to obtain a commercial driver's license. We're going to make it as easy as possible for the veterans.
Hey, man, America's finished, man. You can clearly see it.
I'm not going to pretend like I know what's going on with Ariana Grande, but she's out promoting this new pedal album. And every time I open this app or go to comment on somebody's video, I am assaulted with images and videos of someone who appears to be cachectic. I'm a registered dietitian and I've worked with eating disorders for over a decade now. And
like I said, when you go in this industry and you become an athlete, celebrity, whatever, you know, you turn into people like this, man. Ariana Grande, you know, she was a believer. She was a Christian, whatever the hell. All right. She believed in God. You know, she believed in the Most High, the Son of God. You know, she believed in all that. But now look at it, man. You know, these different rituals and these different black magic and sacrifices, hey, they destroyed her, man. Or you can clearly see it. Like, again, you know, the fire is kindled, man. You can clearly see Babylon the Great, which is America and all these other countries, they're experiencing that fire. All right, the Lord is letting you know, man, that this place is on its way out. All right. You know, and there's going to be more shootouts. There's going to be more people that's going to bug out and lose their mind. All right. So with that being said, Lord willing, this session was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, infinite glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Kodash, Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone at Ruwa that teach what taught us his truth, and the hearty shalom to all the Akim Aqua Shalom.